Hey, it's Pink Buddha and we're back with another music production video. Today we're going to look at the new track by Kanye West, Hurricane. And this video is going to be in two parts. Part one is that we're going to remake this beat together. And part two, we're going to talk about 3 key lessons that you can take away from this. It will help you be a better producer, even if you don't create hip hop or rap, because these are universal concepts that could apply really to any genre. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, part one is that we're going to rebuild this track. And we'll start with the synth bass, which is how the song starts as well. So I found this sound, but the filter needs to be pulled way back. This is a pretty simple part, and actually it's the only one that continues pretty much through the whole entire song. Next, we got the tuned 808. So let's record that. Oh, if you like where this is going, be sure that you check out this playlist up here, which has all the other videos like this in the series, and then subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Okay, moving on, let's add the rim shot and the hats. And then this organ part. All right, so now that we got all these parts laid down, let's talk about the 3 production lessons you can learn from this track. All right, lesson number 1 is don't juggle too many balls. And no, I'm not literally talking about juggling. I'm just being cheeky about saying don't have too many parts that you're playing with. First of all, it makes it really hard when you start mixing. And secondly, you just don't need it. As an example, let's look at what Kanye does with just 5 parts. We have this synth bass here that I recorded first, the 808 kick, the rim shot and the hi-hats, and then this organ part. And what he does to create all this variety is just he varies which ones happen together. Now the synth bass is the only part that goes through the entire track. And I'm going to mark each moment where Kanye makes a very bold choice to have it only by itself. And then the whole track is just about him adding or subtracting different parts with that synth bass. Like here, just synth, kick, and rim shot. And then all of those plus the hats, synth, kick, and organ, and leads into everything together. So yeah, he just basically builds his whole track from just 5 parts being added or subtracted together. Okay, so that leads into the second key lesson that I want you to take from this track, which is to use plenty of foil. And by foil, I'm not referring to aluminum foil. I'm talking about a creative foil, where contrast is used to make parts stand out. And nowhere is this more noticeable than in the beginning, where the simplicity of the synth line really makes all this vocal wandering stand out that The Weeknd is doing. I mean, he's really just wandering all over the place. There's very little repetition here. I mean, some of the same notes, but the phrases are all different. So again, a foil is when you use contrast to make something stand out. And the simplicity of the production in the beginning of this track allows for a lot more wildness in the vocal line. Now in your own tracks, you could always just reverse this as well. You could put a lot of complexity into the production and then make the vocal line really simple. The key here is contrast. Okay, so the third lesson you can learn from this track is to play with expectations. Now here's the thing, humans are really sensitive to patterns, especially rhythmical ones. Now you know this if you've ever walked down a stairs where one of the steps, like at the end, is higher than the rest, and you get used to that rhythm as you're going down, and then you hit that final step and suddenly you nearly fall on your face. In the same way you can play with patterns in your pieces. Let's look at some examples from the song. So the first one I want to draw your attention to is the pattern by which he's introducing the rim shot and the hi-hat. How they come in at the beginning of the synth bass phrase, like right here. And it happens again right here. And then it happens again right here. Okay, so now we've heard it this way 3 times, which is enough to establish the expectation of a pattern. And then here's where it gets shaken up. Instead of bringing in the rim shot at the normal note, which is this one right here, it waits until the next measure. And not only that, but the rim shot pattern has totally changed. Check it out. It's essentially just flipped from what they had before. This beginning part is over here and this part is over here. Now, I know this isn't like a fall on your face kind of disruption that I joked about before, but it is a perfect example of a very subtle disruption that people might not even notice, but unconsciously it's going to keep their attention in the music, which is what you want. Now, that said, there is a more dramatic disruption to the pattern at the end. Check it out. After this section where the synth bass is all by itself again, he brings back the drums again right at the start of the synth phrase. But the pattern and the sounds are different. So the final point is here, change up your patterns to keep people paying attention. Do it in subtle ways and do it in more dramatic ways. Ideally, a little bit of both, just like Kanye did in this track. All right, that's a wrap. Now, if you got something out of this, do me a favor and leave a comment below as to which of these 3 production lessons you think that you're going to apply to your own music. And also, again, be sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one I do like this.